In this series, I'll introduce you to the finest knife shops in Switzerland. Today we are in the town of Zurich, where we'll visit MARCO LORENZI shop, which is run by Reto and Cornelia. They have one of the best collections I've ever seen, and you will find stuff that you don't find anywhere else. We'll have a look inside, and we'll also visit the workshop where Reto has a knife sharpening business, and it's an amazing workshop, so as you will see. Let's go and have a look inside. So, Reto, thank you for having me. We've known each other for a few years, and I was immediately impressed the first time I visited you with the shop and the collection you have in stock. You have some truly amazing pieces, also some stuff that you will not find anywhere else. But let's start with the beginning. How did you get into this, and how long have you been doing this?
We got into this business I think 12 years ago. I studied electrical engineering and my wife is a children's nurse.
Okay.
So we came from a completely different business and we fell in love with a shop in Thun, similar to that one. This one was not ready to take over, so we found MARCO LORENZI here in Zurich, and that's how we came to Zurich, and that's how we came into the business.
Because you told me the Lorenzi family has quite a big history in knife making. So you just kind of stepped into that role. And where did you learn about knife making? And
theoretically, I was able to make a knife or to grind a knife, but practically I learned it here. From MARCO LORENZI.
Ah, from the owner itself.
Yes, from the owner itself. Before we took over, we worked for about 2 years in the background for MARCO, and we took over, and then he worked for about 3 years in the background for us, and that was for us the way to take over the business and the know-how, and it was way harder than I thought.
Yes, it's you have a very highly specialized shop. It's very impressive. But you do some very high-end specialized knife grinding also, right? Like, because you do things that nobody else will probably be able to do, right?
We often sharpen knives like Rockstead, for example. Very difficult in grinding, sharpening, and very difficult in polishing. We also sharpen tungsten steel blades.
Okay, tungsten steel blades.
Tungsten steel
That's
blades.
Impossible.
Not for us. It was quite a long way.
Okay, I
to
imagine.
get to the point that we were satisfied with the quality, but today it works quite nicely.
So now you know where to go for tungsten blades. I want to ask you a question that I ask a lot of people. Have you noticed big changes in the industry since you began and compared to nowadays?
Within these 12 years, we noticed that the quality of the Chinese knives, foldable knives, raised up a big amount.
Yes, I have the same experience. It's
very
true.
much. Yes. Always a little bit astounded by the quality of these knives. So I think that might be the biggest change.
Okay. I see you stock a few brands that you won't see anywhere else. I've seen you have a collection of Chris Reeve knives, which I've never seen so many knives together of that brand. But you also have some other special stuff, right?
We do have some knives from Murray Carter. I think we're the only one outside of the US that sells Murray Carter knives. We also have some Muteki knives. The Muteki bladesmiths were the workers of Murray Carter. We do have some Roman Cazet knives.
Yes.
A Swiss guy who produces really high-end knives with amazing steels as well. We do have Sandrine knives, for example, Rockstead.
Okay.
All very high-end knives. Yeah.
Are you carrying a knife right now?
Yes, I do.
Show us.
It's
Oh, a Spyderco.
Spyderco Para 3, a little bit modified. I like the convex grind, so I always put the convex grind on my knives. It's way easier to sharpen, and I like the cutting performance more than original.
And what steel is on it?
Maxamet. It's Maxamet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any favorite steels?
I like Maxamet a lot. I'd say that's a good compromise of toughness and sharpness, and still more or less easy to sharpen for me, yes.
So Reto, I know you are also the president of the Swiss Knife Makers Guild, which I'm also a member of. But tell us about their activities and what do they do?
It's a small guild today. Until maybe 8 or 10 years, it was mainly Swiss knife makers with Swiss knife makers apprenticeship, as it's a Messerschmitt. They all did an apprenticeship, but at the moment we only have 3 apprentices in Switzerland. It's an apprenticeship that takes 4 years, and we only have 3 people making this apprenticeship, so it's not 1 apprentice per year.
Still, it is quite exceptional because there are not a lot of countries where you can still do that.
Yes, it's still here. So, but we open a little bit, and now we've got a lot of knife makers, interesting knife makers, people who learn to chop themselves by YouTube or whatever.
Yes.
And some of them do really an amazing job internationally. We are in more or less close contact. We see each other, and I think that's the main value of the guild, that people started to talk with each other.
Yes,
also with knife makers, with kind of outsiders. They sometimes they do an amazing job, and the Swiss knife makers can learn a lot.
I agree
from them. Yeah.
I have another question for you. Can you sharpen a knife for me?
Yes, of course.
Great, thank you.
Merci vielmals.
What is the next step?
The first step was pre-grinding with a kind of coarse band, and now I'm polishing. This is pre-polishing, and then I'm gonna polish on the other wheel. Here we polish with really old polishing wheels. It's wood and then leather, and on the top we glue some diamond on it. And these wheels are nice and soft, and so you can polish very nice, soft and round. Let's have a look. And the next step is the final polishing.
So this is the pre-polishing stage.
Yep.
So Reto, I noticed you use diamond compounds for polishing. Why is that?
A couple of years ago we switched to diamond compound because you can polish, you can grind much cooler than with carborundum. In the first step I used water as cooling. Here I don't need any cooling because it's cool grinding, and I always touch the blade with my bare hands, so I really feel how hot the blade is, and so I can control the process.
Yeah, heat is the enemy for very thin blades, right?
Yes, yeah. The thinner it gets, the worse it is, yeah.
So you just pre-polish the blade, and now we go to the next step, right?
Yep. The wheel is very similar to the other one, wood and leather, and there's a carborundum polishing with a little bit of fat, and the fat gives the nicest polishing I know. I tried to exchange this process because it's kind of dirty, but I didn't find anything else who worked as good as this one. So I stayed with it.
So 5 steps later.
5 steps later. Knife is grinded, thinned out a little bit, pre-polished and polished. And that's the fine polishing we got. I like it very much.
You've polished the blade, and now you will do the final step, that's sharpening.
Final step is sharpening. I do the first 50% on a water-cooled band, and the rest of the sharpening I do on the water stones. Let's have a look. And the final sharpening depends very much on the steels. So we do have kinds of soft steels and very hard ones, and more or less for every steel we have our own sharpening process. It's always similar, but the final polishing or grinding sharpening is always a little bit individual. So this one I finish on a 1000 grit stone. So now it's nice and sharp, should be nice and sharp. So shaving is not a problem at all. You can always tell if a bladesmith is right or left-handed. I'm definitely right-handed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So Reto, I already mentioned that you have some very special stuff in stock, but you wanted to show me some knives.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to start with Murray Carter knives. With Murray Carter we learned how to forge. We didn't have the time to forge our own knives, but we learned a lot there, and we still sell Murray Carter knives, so that's a very nice example of these knives. As I said, we are the only ones outside of the US that sell Murray Carter knives. Or what we also have is Muteki knives. These are the apprentices of, or the workers from Murray Carter. Also very nice knives, Japanese steel, it's white paper steel, so something very high-end as well.
So you've got his students forge, and then he has his own.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, very cool knives. We love them and we use them ourselves as well.
You also developed a personal relationship with him through the years, right? You went to visit him in the US?
Yes, and he visited us 3 times. He lived with us, use our home.
Okay.
We moved out, he moved in, and he invited us for breakfast, on Sunday morning breakfast in
Very
our
cool.
own house. Yeah.
Okay. And then you have some pocket knives, which...
Pocket knives as well. Here we do have a nice collection. Rocks that I already mentioned. Very nice Japanese knives. An amazing polishing. Very nice steel. Very high-end knives. A little bit expensive, but very nice. Kaze knives as well. Kaze is a young Swiss knife maker. He produces fixed blades and foldable ones. This one is with Rex 121.
Yeah, he's
steel.
known for his heat treatment, right?
He's known for his heat treatment, and his knives are really, really amazingly good, yes.
So you also mentioned you can sharpen tungsten knives, but you also have some few in stock, right?
Yes, we do have some knives from Sandrine on stock. Tungsten steel blades, very, very tough to sharpen, but possible. These 2 knives from Sandrine, this one is with a zirconium handle, very, very high end as well, so nice quality. Very sharp, but a little bit difficult to sharpen.
But they keep an edge forever.
Almost forever, yeah. They are a little bit brittle.
Okay.
So from time to time I have to grind out some chips.
Okay.
But it's possible, yes. And last but not least, we also have knives from Dimitri at the shop. So we are one of few shops who actually sell Dimitri Turkov knives.